Hello. So I'm waiting in my car for something. But I wanted to take a video for a while and go over my birth story. I love hearing other people's. I just think it's really interesting, and there's so many different situations and scenarios that can happen. I'll start by saying that my daughter, who's now 9, is healthy and well. My birth story is a little traumatic, so trigger warning, but she's okay, she's healthy, and everything ended up okay. So I think starting at a typical pregnancy is 40 weeks. I think starting at 30 weeks, you start going to appointments more often. I want to say once a month or every 2 weeks or something like that. So I was 34 weeks, which is like a month and a half out typically of, giving birth. So I'm at my 34-week checkup. My mom is there with me. We're just there to, measure my belly, weigh me, check the heart rate of the baby and this and that. And everything was going well. I had an easy pregnancy. I was only 23 and then 24 when I had her. I didn't gain much weight, didn't really have any bad symptoms besides being tired, and I had like a bad back for a little while, but not too bad at all. So I'm at my 34-week checkup. They're checking me. My doctor is checking the baby's heart rate. And he says, I saw a little something, like a little blip or something, a little funny. It's no big deal, but I do want you to go to the hospital just to be hooked up to their monitor for a few hours, make sure it doesn't happen again, make sure everything's okay. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we tell him like, all right, we're gonna stop and get some food and go to the hospital. And I call my husband at the time and tell him, the doctor's sending me to the hospital, but it's not a big deal. You probably don't have to come. He said it won't take too long. And unbeknownst to me, when I left the room, the doctor told my mom, don't stop to get food, just go to the hospital right away. So something was up, and worse than what he was letting on to me, to not stress me out, I guess. She told me that later after everything had gone down. So we go to the hospital. My husband did come, and I'm there for about half an hour to an hour maybe. And they're just monitoring. I'm hooked up, with my belly and my heart rate, and they're tracking her, and it's printing out, and they're checking it. The one nurse is checking it and leaves the room and comes back with another nurse. I'm like, And then they leave the room, and about 5 people come running in, and they say, okay, we're going to go in for an emergency C-section right now. And I was just completely shocked and scared. I had a whole birth plan, and, I wasn't planning on having her for another month and a half, another 6 weeks. I was just shocked that it was happening right now. I was hoping she was okay. I wasn't mentally prepared to have like a major surgery. I had never had anything like that before, so I was terrified. And I asked them, I said, is the baby okay? And they said, we'll see, like when we open you up, basically. And I was like terrified, just absolutely terrified. And it was such an emergency, such a quick situation that they wouldn't let my husband in the room. I guess there was no time to scrub up and all that. And I'm laying on the table like this, like with my arms out, naked, with the gown, open and everything. And the last thing they say to me is, they're like, it's going to feel like somebody's choking you. And I'm like, okay. And then literally it felt like I was being choked to death. And that was them intubating me because there wasn't time for an epidural. So they put me to sleep. And it was just so quick. I was just in complete shock. I wake up, I don't know how much longer later. I have no idea how much time passed, but I wake up and I'm, in pain, and I'm out of it. And the first thing I said was, is the baby okay? And they said yes. And then I said, I want my mom, because I was just completely traumatized. So she was healthy. She was premature. So everything with her heart turned out to be okay. I'm not sure exactly what went on or what would have happened if I didn't have the C-section right then. I'm grateful that she's here and she's healthy and everything's okay. Of course, I did wish I had a different story that was peaceful and happy, but she's here and she's healthy, and that's all that matters. So she was 6 weeks early, and her lungs hadn't finished developing yet, so they had to give her this medicine through a tube down into her lungs and spray this stuff, which helped strengthen her lungs, I guess. And she had to live in the NICU, in the little incubator, for 4 weeks. And she was so early that when I got discharged like 3 days later from the hospital, that was the day of my baby shower that was planned. And I ended up getting discharged later than I thought, like a few hours later. So I didn't even have time to go home and change. So I'm wearing the outfit that I wore to work on the day of my 34-week checkup. And I'm just a hot mess. I'm completely traumatized, PTSD, hormonal, crying. And my ex-husband was like, "Why are you crying? Like, hello." Anyway, so I was a hot mess at my baby shower, and I had to leave my baby in the hospital to go to it. That was so hard. But I know a lot of moms have had similar stories or even crazier stories, but that's mine. And I'm grateful that I have a healthy, happy 9-year-old daughter that you would never know was premature. And that's my story. Mothers are amazing.